Hello everyone, welcome back. I posted the Bay House video yesterday and received a lot of interest in this heater. So today we're going to talk about it, how I got it set up in here so that hopefully it can help you set it up in your own space if that's what you would like to do. This is a Silvel brand. They marketed it as an 8 kilowatt, but most of the 8 kilowatts are just 5 kilowatts. They market them higher for whatever reason. This one is a 5 kilowatt, and from my knowledge, if I can have you guys see how it says 5.4? Well, 5.4 is as high as this thing goes. It's 5.4 hertz, which is how many times the fuel pump is clicking. If it was an 8 kilowatts, it would go to 8.2 or something like that. And I've seen some of them that do that, but I can't really tell you what brand would do that. So you're gonna have to do more research on that. But what I can tell you is this thing obviously heats my garage pretty efficiently. What I'm gonna do here is I'll turn this down, and so you can see it just clicks down. Now this thing does come with a remote, and I have the remote hanging inside of the house, and I can turn it on, turn it off, turn it up, and turn it down from the remote. Now, if you're looking to put this in a shop that maybe you work out of, or every night you go outside at 5 o'clock and hang out in the garage, you can set a timer on this where it'll automatically kick on at whatever time you pick, and it'll heat up your space. So that would be kind of cool if you're out there and it's going to take an hour to heat it up. Well, have it turn on high at 4 o'clock, and when you come in at 5, it'll be warm. You could do that if you wanted to as well. Now, originally, if you bought this one, it comes with this outer shell and its own little 4.5 liter gas tank. Now, what I've done is I've modified it, obviously, because I didn't want to fill up that 4.5 liters every other day or however often it would go through it. So I took out the little fuel fitting and I installed it into this water jug, which is it's just a plastic jug. Installed it there, and then I have enough line here that I can take this jug off of the shelf and then refill it and then put it back up on the shelf. And that's actually the only reason why this fuel filter exists, is because it gives me more length. I didn't have enough length the first time I did that, but with the fuel filter on there, I can set it on the floor, fill it up, put it back on the shelf. And I only do that about once a week, so it's really not too much of a hassle. It's probably good. I mean, it forces me to come in here and look and make sure everything's running fine once a week. And I think that's pretty good. If you're talking about, heating something, I think that's well worth the pain it is to fill it. Now, you could do it differently. You could go to a Fleet Farm and get one of those big agricultural 250-gallon fertilizer tanks, and you could probably get a bulk fuel price at that point. Fill that thing up once a year and be good all year. You could set it outside or wherever, as long as it didn't gel up on you. But this is just how I do it. Now, these run on like a battery. So I had it running on the battery, but it works fine. You can put a battery charger on there. It'll maintain it fine. But I didn't want to do that indefinitely. So I bought this little AC to DC converter on Amazon. There's the brand Alito, and you can wire them together. I luckily had a plug for it, but you could just wire this together with the heater, and now it just plugs into the wall and it runs all the time, and I never have to worry about what's the battery doing, whatever. And that worked really nice. Also, you could run off a generator too if you want to put one of these in like your pop-up fish house or whatever. And then this here is just a container that holds my fuel pump. Now, the fuel pump is clicking to the hertz that I set it to, which is 1.7 currently. And you probably don't need to worry about this, but when I'm in here recording, my DSLR Rode microphone picks up that clicking noise like you wouldn't believe. So I had to cut this milk carton, this half-gallon milk carton, and just put a bunch of this window wrap, and it quiets it down a lot. So that's kind of just a me thing. I love the clicking noise. the tempo is fine. It doesn't bother me, but on camera, I didn't know how other people would feel about it, so I got it covered up. And now when you're a little bit away, you can barely hear it. So that's the modification. So yeah, this unit here, I think is maybe 150, 160. I had a percentage off. I've been getting a lot of those. I'm not sure why, but it's Amazon. I got a little bit of a deal on it for whatever reason. And then this was $20. This was $20. So what would that be, about maybe $200, let's say. Now I'll show you one more final little modification outside in a second. But yeah, I just have it on this little shelf. Works very nice. Heats this space. Like I said, the garage is 20 by 24, so it's 480 square feet, I believe. And it heats the space just fine. Now, with that, you might want to get yourself a ceiling fan if you don't have one. Mine unfortunately died about 3 days ago. It only had 1 speed to begin with, so I changed out the 3-speed on it, this little thing, and the rectifier is bad. So now I can hear that the power is going to it, but the rectifier holds a little bit of a charge to spin it, and so I need to find a 3-wire rectifier. And yeah, so ceiling fan helps if you want to go with a more basic route, like I did at the last garage for the first year or whatever. I had that little blue box fan, and I just hung it from the ceiling, turned it on low, and plugged it in. And, because most of the time your garage door opener plugs in, so you might be able to rig it just like that, which I probably will do here. And it'll push the heat down, which is very important. You want to push the heat around, especially into the floor, because when you open and close the door, the floor, is going to heat the space back up again, like your walls and stuff. It's going to leach into that cold air, and you're going to heat the space back up again. Now, yesterday we went to town. It's been about 24 hours since we got home, and you can see all the water here by the vehicle. That would be gone if that fan was running. The convection works so fast at de-thawing and drying up the space that you definitely want a fan. It heats the space fine without it, but the fan, it just adds a better level. Someone did say, if you have a heated garage, you're going to rust out your vehicles faster because it melts all the salt and it sticks to the vehicle. And I've heard of that, but a lot of times it's because people will never wash their car all winter long, and so it just builds and builds and builds. People that I know that have heated garage, they wash their vehicle once or twice a week, which, I kind of strive to do too, because salt in general is just bad in the salt belt here. But, you wash them once or twice a week, you won't have to worry about that. I don't think. And that's just based on my life, but I just have never had an issue with it. Now, another person asked, do your doors, garage door, side door, they ever frost up to the point where you can't open them? Which is a good question. Now, my last garage, I had 2 doors, and the door in the back was always windy. And I've had it when it was like 20 below that the frost would build up on the seam because the cold air is leaching in. Guess I got dirty diesel fingers. But never have I had an issue where it was frozen and it wouldn't open for me. Not even the seam on the bottom. I mean, maybe it would stick a little bit, but not to the point where it's like, I can't get this door open. And a lot of that, though, is you want to make sure you have that fan so it pushes the air around and it'll dry it all up. And then on the side door here, I mean, it's been cold, and you can see my little screws here and hinges, it's all frosted up, but no issues as far as opening and closing the door. And then they're wondering about this as well. You can see just how much this is defrosted. And like I said, we came home yesterday. It got pretty cold last night. And, inside your house, where it's a more variable moisture level, in the wintertime, you'll get a little bit of frost on the bottom. In the garage here, it's just the humidity goes up pretty high when when the vehicles are in here slushy, and then it'll slowly evaporate out, and this is what you see. So it gets frosty, and then it'll just defrost, and probably by you know, a few more hours or whatever, because it's pretty wet. In a few more hours, it will be completely gone, and you can see through it again like any other regular window. But like I said, my fan is not working. If the fan was working, this would speed up significantly. So that's where the fan comes in. Very nice. Let me show you one last modification outside, and then we will wrap it up. So here we are outside behind the garage. Some fresh deer tracks, of course. It snowed yesterday, so that's nice to know that the deer are in my backyard. But right here is where it exhausts out. So this is a pretty crude job. You can do better than this, but this is your intake. This is your exhaust. This is a coffee can that just is a spacer. And what I would like to do is get some of that exhaust like fiberglass wrap and wrap this up. I mean, it's a little bit warm in there. Obviously it's been running, I haven't had any issues, so for whatever that's worth. But you get a bigger coffee can too. Some of them come with this muffler, some of them don't. I had to buy this muffler separately, and it makes a world of difference for the amount of noise this thing makes. Without this muffler on here, this thing sounds, when it's on high, it sounds like a I don't know, louder than a dryer. When you go outside and the dryer's really going, it's louder than that. And so I wanted to quiet it down, and this is the ticket. So this was $12, and it's awesome. I run this heater on low like every day, and about once a week I'll come out and I'll crank it up on high, and I did that today, and you can see that's a little bit of soot that builds up in there. So it's important that you burn them off maybe once a week, and if you're running them on low for a very long time, it keeps that carbon off of there. So just so you know, type of deal. But it sits out here and nice and quiet, so works for me. What's up, big girl? So what interested me with this is all of the videos that I seen came from China or Europe, and there wasn't too many videos based in like America where this was a thing. And I thought, well, you know what, I want to try it. I'm very interested in it. It's really cheap, and just the idea that it works, you know, there's no fumes, there's no nothing. It's so simple, and I really like that. So for me, this has been awesome. I haven't had any issues with it, and it's worked nice. So hopefully if you bought this, you'd have the same luck. Somebody said if you did like a bio mix of like 50-50 diesel and like, I don't know, the waste oil, I don't know, I have a couple jugs of motor oil sitting there. I don't really know if that's what they're talking about. It would burn hotter. I don't know if that's true at all, but I'm just running diesel through it, and it's been working fantastic for me. So the garage, like I said, is a 20 by 24, so 480 square feet. And on low, it maintains a nice temperature in here. You could crank it up, medium, high, whatever your budget may be. But I like the diesel heater because when it's time to refill it, it's like paying cash, right? It's like paying debit. So I have worked out a deal with Dad on this, which is a 62,000 BTU natural gas furnace, and I got it this fall, so I have not had time to install it. Maybe next year I'll get around to it, hopefully. That's a downdraft, quite large for this space furnace, which might be nice when it's 30 below out. But I didn't have time to install that, and so I went this route, and I'm happy I did. This route has paid off quite nicely. And, you know, if you have natural gas, or like the last house was electric, you don't really know what your bill is going to be until you get that bill, and you bite the bullet. The last house, I had a few $700-800 electric bills, and it really hurts. And so this is far cheaper than that. And like I said, every time I need diesel, I can ask myself, hey, can we afford to get diesel right now? And then you say yes or no, and you live your life that way. And so that's kind of another primary reason I bought this, is it's cash on hand. You know, if you got it, you got it, and it's not kind of a credit based. You know, take a good guess at what the bill will be, and yeah, so there you go. If this interests you, I would suggest it. I want to buy another one, like I said, and then put it through the one door on the fish house and let it blast. It can sit outside and do its thing. And they're pretty small, lightweight, especially for the amount of BTUs you get. If you filled this up, I can't remember how many hours it would run that, but we can figure it out if we need to. And if you're going out for a day of fishing, this would definitely last you a full day of fishing. And it's probably lighter than a buddy heater and a 20-pounder. So that's all I got. Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully I kind of helped answer some of your questions. And let me know if you have any other questions down below.